everyone, it's Tammy, and for today's card I'm going to show you a tissue paper technique that is really cool. Hopefully you guys can see the wrinkles on that card, and I did several before doing one as a tutorial for you, and I got a new mat. This is a glass, like, I don't even know what to call it, a glass mat. You're supposed to be able to cut on it. It has the grid lines. It has a place over here that you can mix things. And then it even has a little removable sheet that will allow you to non-stick. And I'm going to be using this a little bit today as well. So let me go ahead and get started. I am using the Lasting Lily stamp set from Stampin' Up. This is really cute. It was a freebie with, I think it was part of a celebration a long time ago, but I'm using this. I like that it's kind of a easy, I don't have to color anything. That's kind of what you need for this kind of technique. And then I'm also using tissue paper, and I wanted to get 2 pieces of tissue paper. This, as you can probably tell because it is wrinkly, has been used in a package. I got a package for, I think it was my birthday, and I keep all of that stuff. So I had it and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use this tissue paper for something because I didn't want to throw it away. And I thought, what about doing this technique? I hadn't done it in a long time, but it is really pretty easy and simple. I'm also going to stamp the envelopes, and I started already stamping them because I was on a roll stamping all of the envelopes for these cards, and I just stamped. So I stamped the stem already on the envelopes, and then I have one inside stamped with the stem again, and then I have the other inside, and then these are my 2 outsides. So I cut these at 1, 2, 3 3/4 by 5 to fit on the outside and on the inside of the card because I wanted to give it a nice border on both sides. And see how I stamped it on the inside? That's what we're going to do with these 2. So I picked out a pink color to use for these cards. This is just a extra to use as my my stamp over. I don't know what else to call it. So let me pick out a pink ink. I'm going to pick this Blushing Bride ink to go with it. And I'm just going to go ahead and score these cards. So this was an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that I cut in half, scored in half, and it makes 2 A2 sized cards, which are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Just going to burnish the edges and put these to the side for now. Let me move this stamp set over here so I have it, because I don't need to stamp on those. Those are done. I'm going to leave this here so I can use that, and I do want to stamp on these. So I'm going to get my block, and I'm going to first start with the stem, and this is the stem for the big, there's 2 stems and 2 flowers. This is the stem for the big flower. Oh, so I need the ink for that too. How about I get out the Pear Pizzazz? I think that's what I used last time. I may have used Old Olive. I'm not really sure. It doesn't really matter. Oh, I've already stamped both of those, but I've only stamped one of those. So let me, oh, well, this one I need the small one. Ugh, never mind. Let me get the small one out. That's what I said, isn't it? And I don't need all of it inked, so I'm just going to ink up the top part of it, and then I'm going to put it over here on the corner like that. Clean it off, put it back, and then I kind of liked the idea of having 2 leaves, so I took my big leaf and I just stamped the top of that, and I'm putting that over here on that side like that. And I think my dog wants out. Good grief. This leaf is kind of weird. The way it has that little fold in it right there, it reminds me of a praying mantis leg, and every time I look at it, I get kind of grossed out. Not that praying mantis aren't great insects, because they are, but I just don't like insects at all. I know that they're good, and I know that they do good, but whew, ugh, gives me the Jeepers Creepers. Am I still going to need that? Oh yes, I need it for the card. So how about I just stamp the actual card? How about that? So this is going to be the front of the card. Good Lord, I don't want to stamp that. I'm getting all confused and discombobulated here. Alright, so I need to stamp the actual card, but it's going to be on the tissue paper. So I have this the same size as my card, so I can kind of see where I'm stamping to make sure that everything I'm stamping gets on the card. And I don't care so much if all the stem is, but I want at least the flowers to be on. Oh, I can stamp both of them at the same time, I guess. I'm used to just doing one card for you guys. But this time I'm doing two. And I know that when you're stamping on tissue paper, you don't want too much ink. So if your ink pads are really, really inky, you probably want to do a stamp off before you stamp on. Like, so do a second generation stamp. Because if it's too inky, you won't be able to see any detail, and it'll just soak on through the tissue paper. Especially if you're using like one of these stamps or a 2 stamp and stamp. And if you guys don't know what that is, oh my goodness, they are wonderful. 2 stamp and stamps are the kind of stamps that have like a flower, but you stamp with one stamp the background and then the other stamp like the center of the flower. They're really neat, and I would recommend you looking into them if you haven't seen them. I know that Stampin' Up! Sells them, but I am sure other companies sell them too. I probably have some from other companies, I'm just not remembering right now. The Stampin' Up! Is the one that comes to my mind when I think of the 2 stamp and stamps. Another thing that I really like about doing it this way is that, I mean, you want to do a good job, but if you mess up or whatever, it's really not a huge big deal, because I don't know, the stamp looks so kind of watercolory anyway that it's not a big deal. So I have both of those stamped, both of these stamped, and both envelopes stamped with the green, so I can put the green away. Now I need my pink, and I need my leaves. So I'm going to do, or not my leaves, the flowers. I'm going to do the big flower first. And that goes on this side. And that's actually probably a little too wet. Of course, I picked out one that I actually just re-inked, now that I remember. Okay, I'm just not going to put it on there very much. And then stamp. Straight down, straight up. That's a lot better. And then I'm going to do the same thing, oh nope, for the outside, for the envelope. This is the big one. You know, if you wanted to do it the other way, it's not a big deal at all. Envelope, envelope. So now my envelopes are finished, so I'm going to put those out here so I don't mix them up. And my big flower is done. Moving on to the little flower. I have my fan on. Let me turn that off. That tissue paper goes flying. Okay, and then I'm going to do this side. And this side. And then the inside of the card. And that's all the stamping with the actual flowers. If you want to put a sentiment on, you can do that. I'm going to do that on these two. but I don't think I'm going to put anything on the inside. And this stamp set has some cute ones. Thank you for your endless love and support. Dear friend, I adore you. I think I'm going to do the dear friend one. It just says dear friend ... And I'm just going to put that with black ink. I almost wish it was bigger, but it's all right. My dog is barking. I'm really thinking I should go let him out real quick. And I'll be right back. This happens frequently. Sorry. Come on, Waylon. Let's go potty. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I have two dogs. I have 4 animals, but 2 dogs, 2 cats. And the dogs always, and I use always because that's the word I want to use, go outside together. And if they don't, that's what happens. So Winnie was outside. Waylon didn't want to go. And I should have known that it wouldn't be long before he'd want to. I'm going to put this over in the corner over here. Oh, man. That didn't stamp well. So I'm going to go higher. There we go. That stamped better. And that's okay. I'll make it work. And there we go. So now I think I'm done stamping all together. So I'm going to put my stamp away and my stamp pad away. And I can put that away. And what I want to do next is I have the 2 white pieces that are cut to 3 3/4 by 5, and that's what these are going to go on, like that. And I want to make sure that they're dry. This one looks like it still might be a little wet. Actually, this one does too. So I'm going to let those dry for a second. While I'm doing that, I will put the inside of the envelopes into, or inside of the card into the card. That didn't make any sense. I'm going to put the inside sheet of cardstock into the card. You guys know what I'm trying to say. I don't know the words. It's a good pink for that pink. It's neat how well sometimes you can get cards to match. Now I know that like companies like Stampin' Up, they make them match, but I'm not using the Stampin' Up paper right now. I'm using Hobby Lobby paper mostly. I do have some Stampin' Up paper still left in my stash because I used to sell Stampin' Up and I love their paper, but it's expensive. And I can go to Hobby Lobby and get their heavy cardstock, which seems to be about the same weight paper. And if you get it when it's on half price, it's really inexpensive and affordable. And that's what I use. Now I've just added them all together, so I couldn't even tell you which is which right now, but that's a good thing. And I think that if I remember correctly, this is the Hobby Lobby paper because I bought a whole big pack of pink because I was almost out of pink stuff. So I think that this is the Hobby Lobby paper, and it matches perfectly, well, in my head perfectly, to the Stampin' Up paper because it matches the ink. So there's that. So this is where this is going to come into handy. The non-stick surface. I was looking for this. The lid to my glue, my art glitter glue. Alright, and I want to use this glue. This is a Zig two-way glue. You could use any kind of glue that you like, really, but if you use, like if I were to use art glitter glue, you would want to smooth it out. You wouldn't want to have all the little bumps of the glue. You know how when you put glue down, it leaves a line of glue. You don't want the line. You want it to be smooth. So you might want to use like a sponge to sponge it out or something like that if that's all you have. I mean, you could even use your fingers if you wanted to, if that's all you had. But I have this Zig two-way glue, which is working fabulously. So this one I'm going to take and try to center my dear friend, and I'm going to try to make sure that both of the flowers get on the page, and not center, but make sure that that's straight, the dear friend. And then I'm just going to lightly put this on here. And I missed the huge big step of this. What a dingbat. Oh goodness, that's okay. It will still be fine. I mean, it looks fine. I am like the world's worst card tutorial teacher lately. Oh my goodness. If I didn't know better, I would think I was pregnant or something, because my head is just not with me. I think it's, seriously, I think it's just the corona thing, just being at home and working from home and not really seeing anybody and not having really very many adult conversations unless it's text or via YouTube with you guys. I really think that that's like playing with my head. And that's not even straight. It's totally crooked, but oh well, it is what it is. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So what you want to do before you glue it on is just smush it all up. However much you want to smush away. Take out your frustrations on your tissue paper. Just be careful not to rip it. Then you put glue on your card, on your base. And I like to cover the base with just a thin coating of glue. And this one's kind of neat too, because you can kind of see where it's at to make sure that you've covered all the surfaces. And if I let it dry, it still gets a little tacky. So it's neat glue. And then I'm just going to, oh, I wanted to make sure that I put this low this time, because I want to cut off the one that I messed up. And I cut this kind of crooked. Oh lordy. See what I mean? So there's a little piece right here that doesn't have any tissue paper on it, but I'm just going to have to deal with it. So then I turn it over and rub my hands on it this way, because it seems to make sure it won't rip, and it seems to be a little easier that way. And I'm just going to cut off the edge of the tissue paper. I did try this the first time with my cutter, you know, my paper cutter, the trimmer, but I didn't like it. It was hard to find the exact spot where you wanted it, and it seemed like it would rip it sometimes, and I don't know, just cutting it with scissors seems to be a little easier, even though you wouldn't think so. You might not think so. Now that one's totally crooked because I had to get the other dear friend off, so it looks like there's nothing up here. Maybe I should put something else up there. Oh, and it's not sticking over here. Oops. Maybe I didn't get any glue over here. Now I know I put glue over here. I don't know what the deal is. It's because I'm showing you. I've just not been having luck with things like this lately. I'm trying to show you something and it messes up almost every time. It's crazy. This really is a really easy and awesome technique because it just kind of gives it a neat look, and I'm really hoping that it's picking up how it looks. Now it doesn't look bad having just not been this crumbled. Actually, it doesn't look much different. It's still kind of cute. So, not a big deal. And I'm just going to take my regular glue and then put this all around and stick this to the outside of my card. Actually, I think that looks kind of neat with it just being in the bottom corner. I think that's all right. I'm going to have to watch my bracelet on this thing. It makes a lot of noise. I've actually had this glass mat for probably 6 months or so, and I just never, it's big. It's bigger than my other one, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to use it or not, so I left it to the side, and then I forgot about it. And then when I was cleaning some stuff over the weekend, I saw it and I was like, oh, I should really be using that. I know I just told you guys not to use this glue when I'm using it, but I want these edges to stick down. I don't know why they're not. Crazy. But there we go. I may even cover up that dear friend with another piece of paper and put a new sentiment on it or something, because that's very crooked. And it's weird how it like goes up. I don't know, I must have squished the friend down a little more just to make sure it all stuck. I don't know. But then here's the envelope, and then you open it up and there's a cute little flower inside too. So I think that's a nice touch when you're sending a card to someone. Ooh, this envelope got some ink on it. Oh well, it's okay. It'll be mailed. So I think they turned out really cute. Let me just show you some of the other colors so you can see. I did an orangey color, and I really like this yellowy color. And then I didn't want to do a green flower with a green stem, so I just did the pink. And here's navy, and then here's the pink, or I guess it's like a rose color. Here's a pink. So yay, I got lots of cards. Ooh, that looks pretty. And that's that. So a lot of bang for my buck. Thanks for watching. I hope that you guys liked it, and I hope you try it. Bye-bye.